permit me to welcome our speakers, our panelists, who will come and share their journey, their experiences with us. So I'll start with the first panel joining us would be Pelubani. Pelubani is an award-winning entrepreneur and founder of Maria G, a Nigerian cosmetic manufacturing brand advancing African beauty through science-backed, sustainable, and locally produced products. She has demonstrated strong entrepreneurial leadership through Abuja Business Plan Competition, the Ugumba Enterprise Challenge, and most recently, the winner of the entrepreneurial reality TV show, The Next Titan Nigeria. Please, thank you. Season 10. So when I say she's an award-winning entrepreneur, you understand what I mean. Pearl is passionate about supporting women and emerging founders by sharing practical insights on entrepreneurship, opportunity, access, which is, and building sustainable businesses in Nigeria, evolving economic landscape. Please, let's clap for her again. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us, Pearl. Thank you. Okay. We also have joining us on stage, Catherine Pam Samlek. She's a dynamic trainer, consultant, and social entrepreneur with over 20 years of cross-sector experiences spanning leadership, development, talent management, consulting, oil and gas, financial services. Kate is the founder and CEO of the Stalwart Group, a multi-sector enterprise comprising Stalwart Consults, International Stalwart Communities Africa, Aberfeldy Energy Limited, Stalwart Technologies, and Outsourcing Limited, and then the Stalwart Learning Hub. Kate holds dual MBAs in marketing, Grenoble Graduate School of Business and Global Management, London Metropolitan University, with concentrations in project management and leadership and performance management and control. She is a John Maxwell certified leadership trainer, speaker, and coach, and a certified management, driving partnership, leveraging behavioral insights to build effective teams. Please, let's clap for her. And then we have Fife Banks. Is the chairman of Young Entrepreneurs Forum, Abuja Chamber of Commerce and Industry, ACCI. He's also the founder and chief executive of Brave Icons Global. Please, let's do well to appreciate our panelists. Okay, so at this point, I have done just the basic introduction, right? They say if you introduce yourself, you say more than the person that is going to introduce you will talk about. So I'll give my panelists the opportunity to take 2 minutes each to introduce themselves, to share your work, your entrepreneurship interests, what you do. Thank you.
I'm the founder of Myra G. Myra G is a cosmetics manufacturing brand. I like to say that we make makeup. So we make cosmetic products, so your lip glosses, blushes, foundations, all of that. We manufacture them here in Abuja, Nigeria. I've been doing this for 5 years now. We just turned 5 last week. I'm also a content creator in my pastime. Anything beauty or business, that's what you'll find on my page. So that's what I do. Myra G is all about making, the women or men who wear them look good and feel better. So we're trying to make products that people can actually pick, and not just pick because they're made in Nigeria, pick because they're actually functional and that they can use them. We were born at just a point where we saw that there was a need for cosmetics manufacturing, because a lot of the products, even the like makeup brands that are doing really well, the Nigerian names, they're not actually made in Nigeria. So they're white labeled. So they get them from Asian countries, maybe China, put their names on it and then bring it back. So at the end of the day, we're not really lining our pockets as Nigerians, we're lining other people's pockets. So that's where that's the problem that Myraji is aiming to solve, which is why we make our own products here. We manufacture our own products. We also white label for other brands. So yeah, that's a bit about me and my brand Myraji. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's nice to meet you, Pearl. And thank you for having me here, Impact Hub. I must first put up a disclaimer. I think I've told Benita before now that I have an earlier scheduled call at 6 p.m. So if you see me jumping off stage, it's because of that call. I thought we were going to start this at 4. I thought 2 hours later, I should be free. So yeah, who is Fife Banks? First of all, that's my actual name, all right? In case you're wondering, is it a nickname? Banks is my surname, Fife is my first name. I'll describe myself as a brave heart, that helps to develop opportunities, whether for individuals, for families, for organizations, and even for nation state. And that's what I have done in the course of my career, helping to build what I describe as shared and sustainable prosperity in ecosystems, which means that if I or my firm or any platform, that I'm a part of engages with you, is going to definitely lead to, you becoming a more prosperous person, or that organization becoming a more prosperous organization, or that nation becoming more prosperous. So this has been my life's work, and way back in 2013, I started my own consulting firm, having worked for about more than a decade at that point in time. Now, I know somebody is guessing my real age now. Don't worry, I'm not as young as I look, but I'm not as old as you think. All right, so I run a consulting firm called Brave Icons Global. We operate here and in the United States. We do transaction advisory, helping to prepare bankable projects, helping to facilitate investment both into Africa and also, of course, for Africans, I want to also invest, in the Western market. We also do what we call talent advisory, which basically has to do with corporate talent, everything from recruitment to executive search to executive coaching to training, and capacity development, and the optimization of the entire HRM value chain. So apart from the work that I do at Brave Icons Global, I lead, or I serve, as a leader in many different organizations and forums. And one of such is the Young CEOs Club at the Abuja Chamber of Commerce and Industry, where I serve as chair. I'm also the chairman for Invest in the USA, which essentially helps Africans, who want to become permanent resident in America through. Served recently the Presidential Council as the chair for the delivery committee for the World Investment Summit, and a few other leadership positions. So this is who I am in a nutshell, and I would love to connect with everybody. Again, like I said, apologies for jumping off at 6. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Kate Pam Semlek. As I've been introduced, they've told you about who I am, the Stalwart Group. I'm the CEO of the Stalwart Group, and it comprises 4 subsidiaries. There's the young one coming up now in the technology and outsourcing space. But we have Stalwart Consults, which is in the learning and development area.
Talking about how you founded your organizations now. Is Stalwart Group your first organization that you founded? Was there something you had done prior to your founding of the organization? And then take us through your journey of how you actually started.
Okay, thank you for that question. I find it very interesting when people ask, because what you see is the semi-finished, still work in progress. You're growing every day. We're not where we want to be. We're far away from where we started, but we're not where we want to be. So it's still work in progress, but the journey, the entrepreneurship journey began a long time ago. My mom passed away when I was 13 or 14. And shortly after she passed away, my father got married to a very terrible woman. Sorry, I apologize for that. My father got married to a very terrible woman who was mean to us. And at that point, I was at the tipping point. Because one day, my father kicked me out of the house. In fact, in secondary school, he used to pay my school fees. It was my older sister, who was a youth corps member at the time. Now, she seemed so old at the time, but she was really young when you look at it. But my stepmother didn't want us to move forward, and she would say, you've reached the age when men can give you money. I didn't even know what that meant. So it was a tipping point of either going into prostitution and that was the point where actually one day I went and I stood on the road because my father kicked me out of the house, so I stood on the road. I got into somebody's car. And then something hit me. Is that what you want to make out of your life? And he didn't go far. I literally opened the door and I was forced to stop. And I jumped out of the car. To cut a long story short, I think life pushes you in there are accidental entrepreneurs that become entrepreneurs because of what life throws at you. However it happens, okay, it just gets to a point where you make a decision, and I had to make that decision, that my life is not going to be, I said I will not be poor, and I will not be rich because of any man. Whatever it was that my stepmother wanted to push me into was not going to be the story of my life. And I think that was the tipping point. So did I set up a company from that time? I wish I did, but that's not what happened. Instead, life was very hard. So with every situation, I made the most of it. I needed to pay school fees. I started making more and I was selling to mechanics. That's where my entrepreneurship journey started from. At that time, we had a lot of land. If you know Jos, where I grew up, there's land and, it's a food basket of sorts. And I used to farm sweet potatoes in front of my house. And you harvest sweet potatoes in the dry season when the ground is hard. But I will harvest the sweet potatoes and then I will sell. And when I went to uni and life was hard, my stepmother was still making life very difficult. They would give me, at that time, they would give me 3,000 naira. And in that 3,000 naira, I would have my registration fee, my upkeep for the whole semester, and my transport money to and from school at the end. She tells you, and she says to me, that time I was in school in ATB Bauchi. And there are people who went to uni with me, they will corroborate that story. They will tell me, and she would say, when you go to school, don't come back until the holiday. And some holidays I would go and stay with my sister in Unijust campus because home was unbearable. Now, looking at it from hindsight, was it tough? Absolutely. But those are the building blocks that shaped my life and helped me and built my resilience. And so from school, when they give me the 3,000, then the Jos Main Market was functional. I will go to Jos Main Market, I will buy underwears, I will buy things. I will go to, there's an Okrika market, fairly used things. Katako, I will go there, buy things. In fact, I used to do that here in Abuja, Monday Market, where you have NNPC filling station, and where you have Wuse Market, Beggar Junction, there used to be open markets. And on Fridays, the one at Beggar Junction was Friday Market. They will open bills, I will pick the things, I will wash them, iron them, repackage them, and sell. I didn't know that those were building blocks for entrepreneurs. In fact, I go to school, you dare not say you like something I'm wearing. I will look for that thing. Another thing my mother taught us, I don't bake much, but my mother used to bake. I learned how to bake from her. And she used to say, learn a skill, because you don't know what, we won't be here forever. You must be able to do life. So I learned to crochet. I started making, back in the day, the chair will have these chair bags. So I used to crochet them. There was one style, my mother, that was the only crochet style I knew. And I would package them and sell them. So by the time I turned it, I would have made another 3-5. Sometimes I would even dash back to Jos and go and buy things and come back and sell. When Always started Always never used the sanitary towel. It never used to be compact. Some of you have never seen it. It used to be big, like a hospital, like a napkin. But when they started the one with wings, I was one of the early distributors on campus in uni. So it was just me trying to get by in life, but gradually I started. Why did I go into consulting and learning and development? My background, fast forward, uni days and all that, I went into investment banking. I was in finance and I was in wealth management, and I did so well. But when the financial crisis happened in 2007, it was an eye-opener. So naturally, I fell into the consulting space and into learning and development. And as you can tell, I talk a lot. So I'm using my ability to speak a lot now. And so now we're in learning development. Incidentally, I just finished a strategy training for the central bank branch controllers at the CBN International. That's where I'm coming from now. So we do that and many other things. But I would say for anybody that is considering or interested, for entrepreneurs, we all have our stories. But the major driver for me is just that determination to take control of my narrative, to not let life push me into doing things that were not consistent with my character. And everything that I'm doing, it's just putting together all the things that I'm passionate about in the spaces that God has led me through, whether by chance or through relationships, and to make the most out of it. And that's how I've come down into this journey. I hope I've done justice to the question. And if anyone has any question, I'm happy to answer some more. That's lovely. So that's thank you for that question. That's like a Big Mac question, a huge burger question. Yes, first of all, the question is, how do we leverage technology to create jobs and all that? I think the nature of work since COVID is changing, or has changed significantly. Right from COVID, we learned something from COVID. One of the lessons that we learned is, number one, whatever business you do, have an element of essential service in it. Number two, leverage technology. So that changed the way places or things that we used to have to be physically present to do, those are changing. So you must be able to put systems in place that will help you function. But you see, leveraging technology also has an advantage of scalability. It enables you scale your business, and it enables you do more with less, increased productivity in so many ways. Now, I know that there's an apprehension that with artificial intelligence and all that, jobs will be at stake. But people who align themselves with the skills that are pertinent for the day, because right now, people who offer services or who know how to leverage those technologies, you have people like virtual assistants. There didn't used to be that kind of job description nomenclature before at all. But you see, there are all sorts of, it's also creating a new wave, new type of job. You just need to align yourself with the skill set. Never in the history, during our time, who would have thought that you would be sitting here and you'll be working for an American company or a Canadian company? But it is happening now, and even governments are partnering with it to try to, manage the Japa syndrome and get people to earn income here. Never was it possible that you're earning foreign currency from your bedroom. But technology has opened an entire universe of endless possibilities for us. We're still learning it. Today we were going over AI. Some of them were amazed at what this ChatGPT that a lot of young people, even secondary school people, you ask them questions now, they use ChatGPT, but it was new to them. So you see the generational gap. And of course, now again, with this interconnectivity, the world has become, it seems as though the world has shrunk, hasn't it? So with that interconnectivity, it also raises the need for more collaboration. For us, they say collaboration is the new oil. Let's get drilling, right? Because you can't be everything and do everything on your own. There's a need for strategic partnerships where you leverage one and another, where you see an amalgamation of institutions coming together to say, okay, let's leverage on the strengths. In our company, the strapline is sharing strengths, fashioning futures. Because now it's not brick and mortar like before. So collaboration has become very easy and, has become pertinent. It's how then we approach collaboration, and the currency for collaboration is trust. As long as we can build trust, I think that collaboration is the way to go. We're moving away from competition, even when Fife and I are in the same industry. And sometimes there's an opportunity, and I could call him, or he would call me and say, can I get someone, can you do this for me? That's collaboration. Yes, and we go and we represent. Today, I can be his company name. Tomorrow, he can be my company name. As long as in negotiation, it's called expanding the pie, so that we share. And I'm hoping that at the end of today, we would have that mindset shift and begin to see people who are in the same space not as competitors, but see how we can leverage strength, because there is enough money, there's enough income, there's enough resources to go around. We just need to know how to share together.
example of how collaboration, and to me, it doesn't feel like anything because I love it anyway. So we sorted out each other's problems. So that's how I feel like as entrepreneurs we should go.
Leveraging strengths.
Yes, just have that kind of mindset that, okay, when I'm going to get something from this person, what can I give this person in return? Because sometimes we feel like everything has to be money driven, or if they're not paying, I don't want. But a lot of other things can be valuable. I could not have at that time paid an accountant, the type of money that they deserve for that particular job, but I could offer my services in a different way. So that's how collaboration has really helped me in my journey. That's just one of the instances. I'm really big on collaboration. I actually just made a post like I think 3 days ago about people collaborating and always wanting to collaborate vertically. So people want to go and meet people who have done this for years, or people who they perceive are doing better than them, and they want to collaborate with these people. And they're not looking at horizontal collaboration. They're not looking around them at their peers. I'm just going to give an example now. Maybe you've been doing business for 5 years, or you've been doing it for 3 or 2 years, and you want to collaborate with another business owner, and then you're looking at the people who have also done it for 2 years or 6 months, and you're like, no, I want someone who has done this for longer because they are of more perceived value. So you want someone who has done this for 10 years, and you want to come, and then to them, what you're giving to them might not be as valuable. So it's also, I think it's a mindset thing with collaboration. You have to be able to, first of all, understand that you're giving before you can take, and also learn how to collaborate with your peers and gradually build up, and not put people on a pedestal and not collaborate horizontally. Does that make sense? Yes.
Thank you.
Go alone.
Go alone. But if you want to go far, go with
Then pull.
no journey is
The right people.
doesn't matter what level you are. Just like Kela said, you don't have to look at the people that are bigger than you. You need to get what you want. And it shouldn't always be about monetary value. There are other values that come to accomplish it here. So I'm going to give you that. I mean, in Nigeria, it's very difficult to collaborate. There's the idea and knowledge of, oh, I don't want this person to be better than me. I don't want this person to steal my idea, right? So they'll prefer to, compete or look for somebody that they know they can control. Maybe just so that they know there's collaborative effort is very huge. And even though collaboration in Nigeria is very, it's widely talked about, but in reality, the practice is very practiced, right? So what are some of the challenges that you have faced? What are the encounters with collaboration as an entrepreneur? And how do you overcome and overcome that challenge?
So I'm just going to do what you said, that it's something that a lot of people talk about. But at the end of the day, when it's time to actually take action, a lot of people are willing to take action. And like Kate said, it's a trust thing. So it's a trust thing. A lot of times you're trying to build on something that does not exist. So you have to do something. Collaboration doesn't have to be needed. Sometimes it could just be interacting with this person beforehand, just building some rapport, getting to know this person getting to know, so that when it's time to collaborate, you have an idea of the values that you both have. Because collaborating is different. Collaborating with someone that you have shared or similar values with is also another thing. You don't just want to collaborate with anyone. So I think it's something that should be built on. Yeah, definitely. And also, I lost my if it comes back, I'll share.
Okay. So let me just add something to that, piggyback on what you said. So, having gone through the University of Hard Knocks, to be honest, in spite of having 2 MBAs from Grenoble Graduate School of Business and London University, my entrepreneurship experience has come from UHK. UHK, University of Hard Knocks, live. You get beat down, okay? you get beat down. Collaboration is like falling in love. Yes, what did, what's his name? The musician. Last, everybody could chop breakfast. Abby, Burna Boy. Yes? You will chop breakfast if you're doing. Does that mean that because you fell in love once and you were heartbroken, you don't fall in love again? The world will stop. Right? And that's the same thing with collaboration. Sometimes in Nigeria, abroad, once you have an agreement in place, they put a lot of agreements in place, and it's built on trust, and people keep their word. But then we live in an environment that's exceptionally difficult, particularly difficult in Nigeria or in Africa, because of the tendency not to keep our words. I've done business with people. I have the agreements on paper. Until today, they have not honored their agreements. And I've also done business with people. No agreements. I've never met, but we have shared money in this Nigeria. So the same way that you look out for when you're looking for a life partner, when you're in a relationship, you're looking for certain qualities. Collaboration is not for everybody. It's not all my friends that I can do business with. It's not all my family members that I can do business with. You must clearly define your relationships. Some of you know that this is a transaction and the fundamental people. So it brings me to the point where you say to collaborate effectively, you must have shared values in common. What is this person's ideology about money? What are they willing to do, or how far are they willing to go just to make money? Are they credible? Is their word their bond? Those are the ingredients that build the trust and catalyze collaboration. So it's not just a word that, oh, we've tried to do business. The moment I just see a sign of lack of integrity or anything, I tactically withdraw, because it's better not to start to move forward with anybody than to start and then to end up with you don't know what it may cost you in the future. So shared values are critical to knowing how to collaborate when you have the same principles. But it's also good to be upfront in collaborating with people. What is this value? Pearl said a lot about value exchange, but what if this is not balanced? Those are the things. So management of expectations from the onset is critical. Discuss the money before the money comes in. Because money does not change people. It just reveals who they truly are. And in entrepreneurship, you're doing it so that it's value exchange. So you must know why you are doing that and lay the cards on the table. If you are not sure what the value or volume of revenue you're getting would be, have it in percentage terms and leave a caveat for that. And understand, even if you're not an expert at accounting, but understand some basic financial principles. Whatever in entrepreneurship, you're going into a business, what's the cash flow going to look like? Because oftentimes it's not the end goal, the revenue that you get at the end of the day. It's the cash flow for sustaining whatever venture that you're doing. Because in between, there can be cracks and there can be a breakdown. So you must be clear, what value are you bringing? How do we monetize the value? And see, what does it look like? Is it going to be reflected in the profits at the end of the day? Those are conversations that need to be had and understood, and you have an agreement. If further down the road, the situation changes and all that, have a caveat in your agreement. Can we review it over a period and see, we've seen how this works. Can we review it? As we go along, you will see that your fingers will get burnt less and less, we'll become wiser, and we're able to pick our strategic partners so that we can grow together. I hope this helps.
So now I'm going to bring you to this. Talking from your experiences and your journey and how you take us into the future of work. And the term future of work, what does it mean? Is your organization ready for that? Are you already transitioning? How do you think we as individuals, as entrepreneurs, can also get ourselves ready for the future of work?
I mean, we're in the cusp of another revolution. We've gone past the industrial revolution and the information revolution. The AI revolution, it is said, it has beyond ICT. It's going to make millionaires. It's going to change things much more than the ICT revolution. And so it's best that understanding AI, understanding how it's going to shape the future is critical. Another thing that I envisage, that I see happening in the future of work, is that we're going to shift from, and we're moving away from that in my place of work, just showing up to work. Because right now we pay for time. We don't pay for productivity. So, yes, productivity and results. So right now you will have, people are saying, I want to work from home as long as I can meet my deliverables. So the entrepreneurs of the future is going to be focused on productivity. What are your deliverables? Even if it's social media management, with analytics and all that, those metrics, young people are able to measure value through that. And that is a significant mind shift from the entrepreneur of before. So as we move along, you will see that you're not going to have people working for monthly paychecks again. People are going to be working 2-3 jobs. People are going to be working, you begin to see job roles across continents, virtual teams, remote work. Right now I have a staff. He's coordinating one of our trainings at CBN in Kano, and he finishes his class at 2 or 3 o'clock, and then he clocks in America to work till 11, and he's getting paid in dollars. So so entrepreneurs have to be able to put systems in place to accommodate that, and then we're going to see the era of truly globalized businesses. What do I mean by globalized businesses? Businesses that are able to compete globally, but adaptable to local standards. Because the era of cultural intelligence, we started with IQ, right? Then a lot has been said about EQ, emotional quotient or intelligence, and then the social quotient or intelligence. And now when COVID came, there was the AQ, your adversity quotient, that's your resilience, and the ability to adapt. And now we're in the era of CQ or CI, cultural intelligence, because you must be able to work, you must understand the culture of the Asians, you must understand the culture of the Indians, because you are working across cross-cultural teams. So you must know how to relate well across cultures and across dimensions. Those are some of the things that I see in the future of work for us. And even public service is there, they're welcoming. Fife talked about the Nigerian Immigration Service. I've done some work with them, and you see a transformation. Every time I travel out of the country and I come back, there's always an improvement. And the improvement is not just in the quality of the service and the technology deployed there. It's in the way the people relate. Yes, so there's going to be a shift, not just as a result of technology, and even the way our workspaces, who knew that you would have workspaces like this before? So there's going to be a shift. Now people are building homes with workspaces in mind. Yeah. My home has a workspace in mind, where you're not just presenting to yourself, doing your work facing your desk, but it's set up in such a way that you're presenting yourself to the world. So there's a lot to say in the future of work, but let me pause right here. I hope this makes sense and people are getting ideas of how to position themselves in the future of work.
Thank you very much for sharing. I mean, it's a whole lot of, understanding the workforce, right? And that you are breaking it down for us in different sectors. So, Pearl, I'm going to ask you. I mean, Ms. Kate shared about that sometimes in our industry, they now pay for time and then deliverables. And now we're getting to a point where it's now skill-based rather than what? Than degree-based. That's where we're getting to right now. So from your entrepreneurial journey, can you share some of the skills that you think as an entrepreneur we should have? During the early stage of the conversation, somebody mentioned something about knowing when to stay competitive and when to collaborate, which is very, very key for every entrepreneur. So how, as an entrepreneur, how do you think as an individual we can, what skills do you think we can learn as an individual, or can entrepreneurs learn as individuals to remain competitive so that, they can become, and the skills that you think are more promising?
Okay, so I would start with what, makes us human, kind of like our mind. So I feel like as an entrepreneur, you should know how to relate with people. You should have emotional intelligence, because there's some times that you would walk into rooms or you would have deals with people, and let me be honest, sometimes the deals might not even make sense, but because you know how to talk to these people, how to, you're seeing that, okay, this person is feeling a sort of way, and then you know not to come, let's say you're negotiating now, you know not to come with, so much force and all of that, you know how to talk to these people, you will now land that deal. So I think that is one of the most important skills that, that you should have as an entrepreneur, emotional intelligence, knowing how to talk. Another one that you should have is the negotiation skills that I spoke about, because you're going to be dealing with different people, you're going to be dealing with suppliers, you're going to be dealing with customers. Sometimes you have customers who come to you and, okay, this thing is not discounted, okay, but you know that, okay, this person might have a tendency of coming back, and I'm not supposed to give a discount, but now let me allow this person, negotiate. Let's talk about this. This thing was 100,000 before. Let me give it to them at 90,000 naira, because I know I'll be able to sweet talk them to come back. Another thing that an entrepreneur should have, another skill, would be project management skills, because at the very beginning, most of the time you're doing it alone, you're doing it by yourself. So you should know how to manage your time, how to manage, how to have deliverables and work towards it. I have a checklist mindset. So when I'm doing something that seems big, let's say I'm supposed to host something like this, I will now break it down into so what would make, yes, exactly, what would make what I'm thinking of become a reality? So one would be, okay, the mic should be working. That's on my checklist. Okay, this should be set up. I should have my questions. I should prep before. So just checklistifying big tasks is under project management. So it's something that entrepreneurs should really have. And it really helps with not being overwhelmed. Because when you're looking at a big task head on, it can be very overwhelming, and then you're thinking, should I even do this, or should I even take this on because it looks this way? Should I not use my time for something else? But once you break it down, sometimes you look at it and like, oh, is this what I'm fussing about? So that is definitely another skill that entrepreneurs should have, and they should always be open to learning. It's not enough to just go through life and learn through experiences. You cannot have all the experiences in the world. I don't even want you to have. It's not a good thing for you to have all the experience in the world, because there are people who have done this. There are people who have lived 50, 100, years, and then they have put all their knowledge in YouTube videos, in books, in newspapers, in whatever media you want to consume, in journals. So you can read things, you can watch things. Just always try to learn something new. My whole thing is trying to get better, trying to get 1% better every single day. So you're just, once you are in a constant cycle of learning, you see that sometimes what you've learned about, it could be about random things. Maybe you're learning about maybe shoemaking, and then you decide to do something in corporate, maybe a consulting business, and then you see that, oh, something that I've used here, that is exactly what innovation is, just taking something that is there or something that exists and just making it better. So you can take knowledge from one thing and use it in something else. So it's definitely just being constantly open to learning is another skill that entrepreneurs should definitely have. Okay, and I think I will just round it off with having a spirit of discernment. Just knowing, some people call it gut feeling, some people call it, to people who are religious, they will say, okay, this is the Holy Spirit telling me this. So, exactly, some people say this is the voice of God, just having a spirit of discernment. Sometimes it might not seem logical, but you're about to go into business with somebody, and then your whole body is fighting. Now there's something, you can't see, this thing looks very shiny, it looks so appealing, it looks like it's going to work, but something inside you is telling you, no, just leave this one. Yeah. And then you don't agree to leave it, and later you see why you should have left it. So having a gut feeling and actually listening to, sometimes you can question that spirit of dissent. Yeah, but always try to listen. Always, sometimes some things are not logical. You just feel, you have a gut feeling. Even taking risks, sometimes you see something and it doesn't seem, any normal person will look at this opportunity and say, leave this thing, it doesn't have head. But something inside you tell you, this is what I want, this is what I want to do. And then you do it and you see that it was, the right choice. So that is another skill that I would like to end with.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I think to build on the learning part, which is very vital as an entrepreneur, you cannot stop learning. The day you stop learning is the day you start dying, right? So I would like to ask, a lot of entrepreneurs are self-taught. I mean, most businesses, according to research, most businesses in Nigeria, they are started from Google. And now with the evolvement or the emergence of AI, most businesses are now started with AI, right? And then how can we as entrepreneurs create a culture of continuous learning? Now you've talked about learning, so I want you to, break it down to how we can now create that culture of continuous learning. And then what is that one skill that you think would be relevant for entrepreneurs to develop and will be relevant in the next 5 years?
Okay, so let me start with the first question, which is about the culture of learning. I think it's not being averse to wanting to solve problems. So the most natural way to learn things is by it even coming up in the first place. So asking questions. You cannot ask questions if there's no friction. Basically, if everything is going smoothly and you feel like, okay, that means there's nothing to learn. But when you have problems, instead of, trying to shy away from them, try to face it head on, because it will lead you to ask questions. Okay, this is not working. My financials have been dipping lately. Why is that? Then it will lead you to ask more questions. Okay, last month we sold more, this month we did not sell more. What happened last month that did not happen this month? So questions like that will lead you to, okay, let me go and search maybe YouTube. Let me go, there's this consultant I know. Let me, book a consultation. I need someone else's point of view. So things like that will help you constantly go. Just keep asking questions, basically. And then the second question was about a skill that
will be relevant for entrepreneurs in the next 5 years.
Computer literacy is the very basic one, because when we talk about sustainability or scalability, we're just talking about being able to replicate this on there's something they call, there's arithmetic and exponential. Exponential. So times this, so just growing like that, and it means internet, it means technology. So having the basic knowledge. In this day and age, there are people that it might be, because of their environment or because even having internet access is a privilege. Some people don't have internet access. But if you do have internet access, you should make it a point of your duty to learn more and more and more about the internet, because every single thing around it, everything else can be built on that. So technology, I would say, just having just being technologically literate, I guess, would be. So everything else would form around, that.
Okay, thank you very much. I mean, that's a very beautiful contribution. While we're planning to round up, I'd like to ask, I mean, entrepreneurship can be overwhelming, especially what Pearl shared about at the very initial stage. You are the program manager, you're the social media manager, you're the content creator, you're
the accountant, you're the cleaner, you're everything.
And oftentimes, businesses always wind up between their first year to their third year. Now and then, most of them, why bootstrapping, even after 5 years. So how do you think we can transition now towards digital entrepreneurship?
Okay, that's a question for me. Okay,
Yes.
thank you. And permit me to answer that. We're rounding up, right?
Yes,
Because
we're
that's my baby screaming. So, well, first of all, I don't think digital entrepreneurship is going to sustain businesses. That's the key to sustaining businesses. Typically, a lot of businesses, when you start, okay, it's a J curve. You dip, and it takes the gut and the resilience of the entrepreneur and getting the right skills and knowledge in place to be able to sustain it. And then gradually, after year 3, that's why they say most businesses fail in the first 3 years. I was just taking a step back and I realized, okay, we're approaching 10 years. Okay, wow, it's not where we're not where we want to be, but at least we have weathered the storm, including COVID. Okay, now, so because you know that it's a J curve and you're doing that, sometimes you have to know when to pivot. The fact that you started selling Gary today does not mean that you will continue that. Yesterday in the strategy class we're doing, did you know that I think Samsung was selling fish? Samsung was selling fish before. IBM, in consulting, we think BlackBerry is out of business, right? They just pivoted. Yes, BlackBerry, yes, that we used to use. They just pivoted. So sometimes circumstances as an entrepreneur, the one thing that factors of production can change in economics, but you, the entrepreneur, remains consistent. That's why having a culture of continuous learning is key. Now I'm just going to, because I'm a trainer, and I'm just going to give you based on, and I would encourage you, it's on YouTube, Peter Senji's 5 disciplines of organizational learning. Okay, that's number 1 is personal mastery. You what are you doing? Okay, and how do you translate that to your teams? So I'm not going to the steps accordingly, but at the epic of it, you can go and see it, the entire steps, but the key to it is having system thinking. What is system thinking? Being able to see how your decisions, one decision here affects the other one. Having a big picture mindset. Being able to see cause and effect. Thinking like a chess player, right? Moves ahead. Seeing the interconnectivity between circumstances, situations, and all that, because you can read the environment. In consulting, they use pastel. Now Trump is threatening to come into Nigeria. What is it going to look like for entrepreneurs?
Yeah.
So, of course, if you don't think through these things and you're oblivious to what is going on, Nigeria becomes like Syria or Afghanistan or Libya or Sudan. The business as you see it may not happen in the same way. So in this ever-evolving VUCA environment that we're in, we must develop system thinking capability so that is what will sustain business. If you're going to go into the digital space, well and good, okay? But if as long as you're creating value, I think that's what Pearl started with, value exchange. As long as you're creating value that is relevant for the day, you will always you will always be in business and you will always sustain your business.
So to build on that, do you think innovation can actually make entrepreneurship easier?
What is innovation? Really?
It's the ability to creativity, to create something.
So is it about creating something new or a new way of doing something? So innovation not every innovation must be disruptive. It can be incremental. Sure. Yes? Okay. Innovation it's just a better way. It could be a better way of doing things. Okay. So let's not over amplify the word. Let's break it down to practical. So you can innovate your day-to-day life. You can bring innovation. I like what she said about atomic habits, building atomic habits. That in itself may be your personal innovation. And so when we teach in terms of learning and all that, it's about the more you know. When we ultimately know better, we do better. And when we do better, we become better. So definitely innovation will sustain businesses. Innovation will take us to the next level. Innovation it takes creativity and a lot more, right? Innovation is problem solving. Today, financial solutions, America, the West is coming to learn fintech solutions from us. Why? Because we don't have internet everywhere. We're developing mobile banking apps and all of those. They don't have all those things. Never mind that they don't make as much noise about these things because it's coming from Africa. Yes, but Kenya is known as the fastest adopter of AI. ChatGPT, that's what research has shown. So yes, do we need innovation? Absolutely. Absolutely, but how do we need to position ourselves to be innovative? Those are the things that we're talking about here now. So it's not just about using the word like it's a big word and all that. Innovation is a function of our atomic habits. What atomic habits are you building as an entrepreneur? Thank you. So I want to pause with that question.
That's
Okay, thank you very much. I got lost in the because I'm like, oh my God, I was trying to, process everything that you said. I'm going to ask my second to the last question. But this time around, it's going to we'll make it very, very short. Of course, you've talked about innovation, you've talked about, but technology is actually advancing. The world is growing technologically, we are advancing. And as entrepreneurs, we cannot not say we do not need technology, which is very important. So what digital tools do you think we can, use to create more jobs rather than eliminate them? So
to create more jobs in our businesses? Is that the question?
Okay, no, continue. To create more jobs rather than eliminate them, what digital tools?
Yeah, I'm saying, is it to create more jobs in our businesses or?
As to create more jobs in the business sector, in different sectors, in Nigeria, in Africa. That is not just,
Okay, no, I was just trying to understand. Okay. So I would say to find it, just so that you're not being vague and looking for all the answers in the world, I would say find your pain points first. So if you're an entrepreneur who has issues with maybe your record keeping or your bookkeeping, start with looking for tools that cater to that. So is that the...
And so we are already in the world of AI.
Yes.
And they say AI will take our jobs. So how can we as entrepreneurs now leverage these digital tools to now create more jobs rather than eliminate the...
first of all, I don't think AI is taking our jobs.
Okay, I like that.
Because even if it is, in quotes, taking our jobs, it's creating more jobs. Because we spoke about virtual assistants, and it's a job that has been created because of technology and because of artificial intelligence and all of that. So it's just finding, even the AI itself needs to be managed. There are people who are paid to train AI, essentially. So they clock in every morning, and all they're doing is asking AI very specific questions. If it gives them the answer that they're looking for, they check it. If not, they try again. So I don't think that AI is taking our jobs. I just think that it's making life a bit more. It's just leveling the playing field a little bit. So people who could not do certain things because of maybe they don't have enough resources, or they don't have access to certain things, they can now do it because of AI. So because I don't think AI is taking our jobs, I can't answer that question of how to create jobs that the AI is not taking. If that makes sense.
I get it.
Okay, thank you very much. I mean, we're still on the same part, so I think I'll direct the question to you, but a little bit different. I mean, the rapid emergence of AI and then digital transformation in our economy. How can Nigerian entrepreneurs prepare for the unavoidable transformation reshaping our economy? What are the challenges, opportunities, barriers in this digital transformation, and how is technology actually transforming the business landscape?
Interesting. That's like a complex question. But I thought you were going to ask, how will government, actually help? Now you're asking the entrepreneurs. We do this a lot in Nigeria, where we victimize the victims. But first, let me speak to what government needs to do. We need to invest more in infrastructure.
Would come in.
Okay, you have the question.
Yes, I have the question specifically for you.
All right, so what should entrepreneurs do? Because, first of all, the reason I wanted to come from that angle is you need to have an enabling environment, and most of that will be created by policy and investment in infrastructure. All right, if you have that, then young people with energy, they're able to do more. Now you have slow internet, so there's just much that you can do with some applications that require, heavy use of data. Sometimes people would edit videos and they will tell you before we can, download the thing, it's taking forever. In America, it's not like that. It's like, do you understand? So that's why I was coming from that angle. But then, what should entrepreneurs do? I would say entrepreneurs themselves, they owe themselves, the responsibility of getting informed. All right? And this must be a national philosophy, that we raise more informed young entrepreneurs. All right? Because if people are equipped with information, then they're able to make informed decisions, and then they're able to reduce waste, increase efficiency, and be able to scale even faster. So you need to read up about AI. Don't see it as, the studies ones have come to disrupt us, so that's the enemy. No. You've got to embrace, the technological advancement, because technology and the people that are creating technology are not going to wait. Listen, they're on a mission to digitize everything. Do you understand? I don't know if I have tech people here. Do I have tech people here? Just advocates. Okay. Yeah, and they just want to change everything. Like, some people are still advocating we should be spending Naira notes. They're like, no, we should do like this and have paid. Which tells us like they're not going to wait. Exactly. So it's evolving. It's not even a Gen Z thing. It's about what tech really is. And technology, if you go back to the root word, it simply talks about how do you do something cheaper, faster, and easier. Do you understand? So that's really what technology is about, right? Finding ways. So there are people that are committed to making our world faster. Do you understand? You talk of bullet train, you're in Ibadan. Do you understand? So, and those people are not only committed, they are getting funded. All right? Because there's a community that also wants that. With speed, you're able to do more. With speed, you can increase efficiency, right? Yes, there are people that would stand on the sidelines and and just look. There are people that are opposing that, but I think that the resolve of the actors, is much more than the resolve of the detractors. Do you understand? particularly when it comes to technology. You know, I mean, and because it's also technology, it's about programming things. IoT is about programming devices, right? And if you get a smarter fridge, chances are that you are going to buy that smart fridge over a dumb fridge. Am I right? Everybody here has a smartphone. But guess what? Dumb phones still exist, right? Why are you not buying it? Because you don't need it anymore. Your taste, have changed. You're so sorry. You are more exposed. Your expectations are different. You don't want a phone that does a bling, bling, bling. No, you want a phone that even when it's waking you up, is saying, "Hi, Kingsley. I hope you rested well. I think you slept now for 2.06 hours, and make sure you join another 2 hours, next tomorrow to complete your sleep cycle." You're like, yeah, that's my phone. Do you understand? So entrepreneurs owe themselves the responsibility of getting informed. Entrepreneurs also must invest in their internal infrastructure, that makes technology really work in their own ecosystem. It is expensive. That's why government must take a lead, in infrastructure development. But look at Impact Hub, right? Don't you guys just feel that when you enter here, it's like you have entered into the future? At least for Nigeria's sake. Exactly. And I think, Impact Hub deserves a round of applause. From the name itself. Yeah. But here's the thing. If you know the sheer investment that has gone into this, it's not beans. It's not beans at all. You know how many entrepreneurs are that financially empowered to be able to, get all the gadgets? I mean, we're just in one of 20 people in the audience. This is being streamed. Look at the camera kit. Look at the excellence. That costs money. All right? So that's another thing entrepreneurs will have to do, investing, in tech. I think also is to empower our team members, to then also get tech skills, right? Because if you have an employee, no matter how much you love them, after a while, you're going to look at their productivity vis-a-vis the other employee that you don't even like, but is producing more. Do you understand? Because organizations are not set up for loyalty. Organizations are set up for productivity. Do you understand? So entrepreneurs must also invest in helping their employees or team members, get tech skills. I think another thing that entrepreneurs would also do is to do some sort of exchange. Part of the major challenge we have in Africa is because a lot of people have not traveled. You haven't. So sometimes you're explaining things to people. Apologies to Impact Hub people. I know Hola can be very, but it's because he's seen how things have worked elsewhere, and he knows it can work. If you come now, you tell somebody in Nigeria, maybe in Nigerian villages, and you say, "Do you know that in this village, a train can be coming every 5 minutes, and it won't stop for the rest of your life?" They will say, "How? How is that even possible?" But guess what? In places all over the world, in Europe, it's been happening since 1921. Do you understand? Some people have not seen lights go off. It's not part of their reality. So when you explain this to young people, sometimes it looks as if, you are impatient. You are not, because you have seen it. So we need to encourage people to travel. However you are going to do it, travel. If you cannot travel, then get on the internet, get to YouTube, get to see the world from the lens of the internet, right? But travel is going to do something to you. I'm not advocating Jackpot. I'm advocating travel to learn. Exactly. To learn, to see that some of the things that we say that are impossible, do you understand? It's just been happening. Do you get? So that's what I would say from, an entrepreneur's point of view.
Thank you very much. I mean, you've already broken it down, but because I know that we still need to talk about what government needs to do, so I'm going to bring the question back, which means that, of course, in navigating job creation of the future, we must build together. I mean, this team is together we build. And then different sectors have roles to play. So what steps, or what practical steps do you think all the sectors, I'm going to mention them, the private sector, educators, and the government, and then, of course, entrepreneurs, what do you think, what practical steps do you think we can take to build together rather than in silos? And then you could use, if there are any suggestions from your industry that have worked, that you could use to share with us as entrepreneurs. Thank you.
Thank you. Is this question for Pearl?
No, it's for you. It's for you.
Right.
So I'm bringing it back to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Benita. How can we build together to harness the potentials of technology? First, there has to be a nationwide policy, for tech to be taught from the elementary school. In China, that's a given.
Yeah.
Some of the gadgets that we celebrate here is teenagers that are making them, all right? But guess what? Teenagers cannot make them if those teenagers have not been trained from, So by the time they become teenagers, they are already at mastery level, So there has to be that policy, I know that in recent times, there have been a lot of advocacy for entrepreneurship to be included in the curriculum, from secondary school. Technology must also be included. It should be a fundamental human right. That, going forward, every African child must learn about tech from, an early stage, right? Because that way, all of society, now become very tech aware, and so everybody's just talking tech. Nobody is getting left out. When you talk tech, nobody is harassed or feel like, oh, you are going to take whatever they are eating, from their mouth. Because this is one of the reasons why politicians have not really listened to young people's cry about adopting technology, even for things like e-governance. The United Arab Emirates, when I was doing the strategic planning for Nigerian Immigration Service, we did some benchmark study, of other nations, how their immigration system works and everything. And in the UAE, you can sit in the comfort of your home, apply for a passport, make the payment, and then it will be mailed to you within 48 hours.
Wow.
And guess what?
Wow.
Blind people can also do it because the website, is inclusive. So it has braille, deaf people can also do it. So that you have special ability, physically, or, you have, it is not a barrier. Government is still able to dispense, services to anybody and everybody, all right? So we, as government, because a lot of us are going to, get into government, whether you like it or not. Whether you like it or not, it's going to fall on you one day. Trust me, it's going to fall on you. Either somebody calls you to say, come and be my SA, or PA to the SA. You're going to start from somewhere. So, but get ready, because when you get to the corridors of power, sometimes all that you have is influence. You've just been able to suggest and say, okay, why don't we do it like this? And trust me, that why don't we do it like this? If it's adopted, it can become policy. Do you get? So, but if you don't have anything to say they should do it like this, do you understand? Yeah, so yes, we must also see ourselves as contributors to, developing policy. So government, entrepreneurs, but I see a lot of advocacy, really. For example, Nigeria now has a startup act, NITDA. If you go back 10 years ago, it wasn't like that. Exactly. So I think we are also growing. I think government will have they will have a way of opposing young people in the next 5 years. Because it's really a young people's nation. 60% of Nigerians are under the age of 25. Now they can do all the abracadabra. All of them that are in their 70s will soon be in their 80s, right? All of them that are in their 60s will soon be in their 70s. So, like, most of you here will be between the ages of 30 and maybe 50, right? Now that I say 30, she's thinking, why am I not mentioning her age? We still have some Gen Zs also. But my point is, give it another 10 years. Sorry to say, Tinubu would be weak if he has not died. Do you understand? So it's going to be us. And then what's going to matter is how much knowledge are we bringing, to be able to shape the kind of world that, And again, the last point I'd like to make is we have no choice in the world we live now. This is 2025, for crying out loud. Do you know how much technology is doing in the productivity of the so-called developed nations? In fact, it's almost like they are so wired that some people are advocating that it's becoming too much. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to make, that we need to have some, you need to go back to nature, because everything is wired. You don't need to have a security man in your house. You can secure your house and can be anywhere in the world and still watch what's going on in every room, and you can even operate some of the devices from, across the head. Here we're still using people at gas stations to sell fuel for us. Like, people buy their gas by themselves. Do you understand? Like, some things are not necessary. There are a lot of self-checkout. In supermarket abroad, you go there, you put the goods that you bought by yourself, you scan it, you go. Yeah, there will be one aboki looking at you, what have you stolen? Like, you can't even steal anything because there are sensors. Do you understand? So whether we like it or yes, we're gonna live in that world. The politicians will not be able to resist it, because come to think of it, some of the children of politicians are also living in this reality, and they're telling their fathers, like, Daddy, you can't do anything about it. And again, we don't live in isolation. It's already a connected world. I just had a conversation now with somebody in North America. We were looking at each other. We were discussing, he was like, last time I was in Nigeria, I had ram suya. Is there another kind of suya when I come back? Like, do you understand? So, but I also recognize that not all of us are elites. All right? So, we must be inclusive in the solutions that we're developing, and remembering that there are people in the village, who is probably going to take a while before development, catch on in all those places, right? So we must think about them and the kind of solutions that, we are creating. So for example, how should somebody in Seattle local government, be able to get the same, service from government this time around, as somebody that is in Abuja, and there will be no barrier and all of those kind of things. So yeah,
thank you very
that's all
much.
that I'll say for
Thank
now.
you very much. Thank you so much. I mean, we have come to the end of this panel session, but it wouldn't make sense not to allow our panelists to share the opportunities that they have benefited from, that you as entrepreneurs can also benefit. So I would ask Pearl this question. I mean, she's an award-winning entrepreneur. So Pearl, and like Miss Kate mentioned, something is a new oil. Collaboration is a new oil. So I would say that opportunity is the new gold, right? And then access to those opportunities. And good that Pearl is one of the access. So Pearl, could you share with us some of the opportunities that you think as an entrepreneur we can benefit from? So let's use that to wrap the panel session. Very much.
Okay, so maybe I would start with encouraging the entrepreneurs here to join a community. Impact Hub is also a very big community, because what happens is that these communities, if I start listing out every single opportunity, we're going to sleep here today. So what happens is that these communities collate these opportunities, and the most recent one, which I feel like Benita is referring to, is The Next Titan, which I was the winner of the recently concluded season 10. If you don't know what The Next Titan is, it's a reality TV show for entrepreneurs. So if you're familiar with The Apprentice or Shark Tank, Dragon's Den, all those essentially. So opportunities like that, they get sent to my email address because I'm part of certain communities. So things like grants, pitching competitions, there's some that you don't have to actively pitch yourself, physically you would write. So just actually joining communities would help you get these opportunities at your doorstep. There's so many, if you go to maybe the UNDP website, they have opportunities there. If you go to another really good one is MSME Africa. So they post on their Instagram every single day. Every single day they post over 20 opportunities. You see, there are some that are for people in the energy space. There's some that are for people in the agricultural space, people in, that are advancing in the tech space. So just look out for what works for you, and you get it. Just move up from there. Even Shecluded is another community that I'm part of, but they focus solely on women and like financing female-owned businesses. You can join their mailing list. Every Wednesday they send up to 50 grant opportunities, like just things like that. I think that's how you really tap into or get access to those kind of opportunities.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think because of time, we would have the opportunity to ask our panel discussion. I mean, we've heard from their pool of experiences, their journey. So let's take one or two questions from the audience. Okay, 2 questions, please. And please, let's make sure that our questions are very, very direct, very short, so that we can give our panelists at least good minutes to respond to the questions. So please, thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your inputs.
Thank you.
Very insightful. Thank you very much, Ms. Kate, too. Really got a lot from you as well. So, for the part of the collaboration, let me start with the organization that set up this particular program, the Impact Hub. From the name, that's what attracted me, what it means. So I want to know your collaboration. How do you collaborate with the organization in terms of in the tech aspect? That's what I'm advocating with. The last digital Nigerian event that took place with Nita that hosted in Abuja, I was able to come with some tech interested guys. Some of them are ladies, young guys too. That will put them together like a hub. That we want to connect them with the professional in what we did. We look at their skills as well from there. Then if they develop the skill, connect them with the service that is supposed to be delivered to end something as well. So we started something like that. So I don't know what and what we're supposed to do in order to collaborate. I have the list of them. In fact, I invited one and whether I do it in the house in Mujani or not. I invited one of them to be here today. So please, that's what I want to know. Actually, we appreciate you for what you are doing. And this thing, you need to escalate. He mentioned that those that are there are not living around the urban area, in the villages. What do we think we can do? After the collaboration, after we do you, then what do you do in order to replicate what you guys are doing across this thing? When you travel together, I'm telling you, as if I travel to another world entirely, what we will be seeing there is not something you can compare. What people are going through. Sincerely, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that question. All right, so before we respond, let's take the second question.
Okay.
I think I would respond to your question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kingsley.
Okay.
Well, I want to thank you for the knowledge shared so far. In building, let's assume you're a new business owner and you're trying to put structure. At what point is it right to hire? What time is it also right to fire? And then, because
Very important.
it's one thing to build. Sometimes, like you said earlier, you said to go far, run the road. But in this current time and age, most of the Gen Zs are on the fast lane. Some of them are not ready to go through your struggle with you. Some of them, please, let me put it first. They're not ready to go through that struggle with you. So when is it time to hire, or when is it time to fire? Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I think, Mr. Fife, you might want to take that question.
All right, thank you. Now I'm looking like the guy that hires and fires. Right, okay. I've actually been involved in, hiring and firing for client organizations as well as in my own organization. So yeah, I can speak from experience. But I want to put it in perspective because we're talking about entrepreneurs of all kinds, right? There are some businesses that are solopreneurs. Just an individual with their backpack, they can deliver, and they can even scale their businesses, only that there are very few businesses that, work with that model. Most businesses, you would need to raise a team, Okay? So when is the best time to hire? I wouldn't structure my question around when is best. I would say that you need to consider hiring somebody from day one. All right? Because you're creating something. I mean, apologies to, okay, no, everybody understand the story of creation. Yes. All right, exactly. So when God created Adam, gave him work to do, he realized that, oh boy, this guy cannot do this thing alone. We have to bring somebody so that as he does, he can share knowledge. Somebody can observe, and because you are not a machine, you are not going to be productive 24/7. So what you are doing is you are extending and optimizing your productivity by bringing somebody along, all right? Now, the challenge now is how do you remunerate somebody from get-go? And this goes back to pre-starting a business and the things you have to put in place. Some people will tell you, save up before you start your business. That's very useful because you can use part of your savings to pay salaries, right? But guess what? You haven't started making money. So there is also a ceiling to what you can pay. You can look at your remuneration in a creative way, and look at cash, sometimes plus equity, sometimes cash plus kind, all right? And there is no one way to skin a cat. So there are no hard and fast rule here. Are we together? Kingsley, are you with me? So there are some people who will tell you, this is how I started my company. Now, that's their own experience. That's not the general experience. There are people that will tell you that, oh, when I started, I wasn't paying these guys. What I was doing for them was coaching them, in return to, help them with personal development, help them to develop their capacity. As they become better people, they now realize that, okay, they can even do this job better. And many of manufacturing businesses, have taken that route, where you get apprentices, to come along with you. They are learning, all right? And the learning, for the most part, is considered they are earning, all right? The Eagle apprenticeship system, sometimes the Oga and the boy would even be living with the Oga. It's not taking salary. That money is being saved until the time the person is going to get freedom, and then that money is released as capital for their own business, right? So you see, you can hire somebody, and if you can convince them that, see, my own process is like the Eagle apprenticeship, chances are that you may not pay them, so to speak, but you can be responsible for things like feeding, communication allowances, all those stipends, right? Again, it depends on, the vision you're selling and, and all of that. So you should hire from day one, all right? When should you fire is a more complex question, all right? Because then people hire also for different reasons. Some people hire because, oh, she's my cousin. Have you seen those kind of people? Say, yeah, they make sentimental decisions when it comes to hiring. Some people just get intimidated by the phonetics of, this interviewee. Some people are very good at answering interview questions, that if you make the mistake of hiring them, we call them PURE, P-U-R-E, previously unidentified recruitment error. Yes, because some people they have mastered the art of answering questions. You throw this question at them at interviews, they will answer it. If you are not an experienced interviewer and you begin to ask contextual questions, that's the one that really put them off because they don't have any experience to back up all those, big grammar that they're throwing around, And some people look very sharp, so don't be intimidated. Remember, Prophet Samuel, with all his prophetic skills and experience, nearly hired Eliab as the king of Israel just by his appearance. Right? This is a fine boy, 6 packs, dressed very well, and says, surely this one must be the king. A lot of entrepreneurs make that mistake just by, the package. I mean, who wouldn't want to hire a pearl if she shows up, at an interview wearing black and white? You think she's a lawyer. She's not. Do you understand? She's an economist or an entrepreneur, right? So, but when should you fire? I think when you realize that you have a disconnect of values, all right? People say, oh, organizations have core values. For most small, mid-sized businesses, even the big ones, the core values are derived from the personal values of the founder. All right? If the founder loves excellence, then it becomes part of the values of the organization. So when you begin to see people who don't share your values, all right, here is the thing. People may not share your vision from day one, all right, because they may not just see what you see. The more you communicate, they catch on, they see it. But if they don't share your values, for example, if you as Oga, oh, we have to rush. This has become a mentoring session. All right. So let me just cite this example, and then I can, round up. So, for example, if you as Oga, you have integrity. You don't cheat people. I don't know why I keep going back to scripture. But you have a servant that is like that guy that went at the back and say, Gehazi, and say, my master does not, but me, I want to build a house in this Abuja. My master can choose to live in Gwagalada, that's his own. That is a separation of values. It's going to bring your business down. That's a good time to fire. Do you understand? When sometimes you've seen like a daxical attitude, you've given people like grace again and again and again, and they just don't want to change, right? It's time to let them go. Do you understand? You might even be doing them a favor by letting them go, all right? And you shouldn't do it out of a place of, you're offended or anything, So, yeah, there are many things I could have said, but because of time, I'm just going to, stop here.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you so much. I mean, when there's a disconnection in values, you know that it's not time. But I'm going to add this. Make sure that you're giving them enough time to understand that you guys are not on the same page before you now finally make that final decision, so that you're... Yeah.
Because if there's a gap in skills, people can learn. Yeah. But if there's a gap in character, it's probably because they don't have home training. Sorry to put it like that.
Yeah,
thank you. That's not your job as the employer to provide home training for them.
Yeah, thank you.
Most of you're hired for the purpose, but you're still coming to ask what am I going to do?
Okay, I think this has entered mentorship session. So after the session, you are permitted to speak with Mr. Fife Banks to get more insight on that. But then to answer your question, I'll make it very brief. Impact of Abuja is a global network. We're in 110 locations across 70 countries, which means that all of these countries could have opportunities that as entrepreneurs you can benefit from. But the only way you can benefit from those opportunities are being a part of the community of Impact Hub. And of course, being a part of the community, you're here today, your consistency in coming for events, engagement, or if you have money, we're also a co-working space where you can rent an office space, then get access to other opportunities and benefits. You can also use Impact Hub Abuja as your virtual office, which means that all your letters and back office support, we get them for you. And then automatically you become what? A community member. That is one option. Impact Hub Abuja also have different entrepreneurship program or different program that supports startups, emerging startup entrepreneurs. For example, we just launched Abuja Entrepreneurship Academy, which is for emerging entrepreneurs, or you want to scale your entrepreneurial journey. We have that, we've launched that, and it happens every Saturday. It's an 8-session training for entrepreneurs. What are the perks and benefits that it comes with? Being a part of the program gives you access to what? Certificates, if you meet up to the requirements as an entrepreneur. Of course, it gives you access to being a part of the global network across 110 locations, which means that if you travel to any other country and you say, oh, I'm a member of Impact Hub Abuja, you automatically get some perks and benefits being a member of Impact Hub Abuja. That is one. Then another benefit that it comes with is when you meet up to some criteria that is included in the application process or the program process, then you can now get access to using the space for free. That is another benefit of attending or being a part of some of the programs that we offer. And then another thing is we also register businesses for individuals, for organizations, for businesses, for startups. So take, for instance, you're a part of the Abuja Entrepreneurship Academy. After the program, we can now decide to register your business, either at no cost, at 50% discount, at 70% discount, at 30% discount. This is depending on whether you meet the requirement that has been put in the process. So you can share that with your community. Those are the parts of the ways that we can collaborate. We also have the GDIP, Graduate Digital Entrepreneurship and Employability Program. That is strictly for fresh graduates. You're a fresh graduate, what we do is we train them on different skills where you can now use these skills to be ready for the workforce. Program management. As an entrepreneur, you need all the skills. So we train you on program management, digital skills training, web development, tech, communications, media, and so many other skills. That's for the Graduate Digital Entrepreneurship Program. During the program, your first 6 months, after your first 6 months where there's intense training, your remaining months you are placed to other organizations where you can actually carry the knowledge and the trainings that you've gone to practicalize it in those organizations. So you're getting 2 experiences as an NYC, as a corper. That's one benefit of being part of the program. Another one that we have is, of course, this program. When you come here all the time, you get to meet with, award-winning entrepreneurs, consultants, trainers that are global, global entrepreneurs that could mentor you and all. You get to meet with them. And at the same time, what else do? You get to connect with people, your peers. You build collaboration, you build network, you expand your network. You start with knowing, like Pearl had mentioned, you start with knowing what individuals have done. And then you see where you can align and work together. That's one. Then, I would have shared another opportunity. Then this last one, meanwhile, we have a network. Once you become a part of that network, when there are opportunities that is coming from the global space, because we have a global market survey where all of our community members actually fill that survey to impute the kind of businesses that they do or run. So when there's an opportunity that actually benefits you, you can also apply as a member of Impacts of Abuja. So those are the kind of ways we collaborate, so you can share that with your community. Thank you very much. At this point, we've come to the end.
You can use this place to host your event.
Yes. So you can use this place to host your events. Thank you. And so many more. There's so many perks, but I'm trying to just make it very short. But I think with that, we've come to the end of this panel session. And I want to first of all I want us to please appreciate our panelists for sharing their knowledge and their experiences. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you. Thank you for staying till this time. Thank you so much, Mr. Fifebanks. Thank you so much, Ms. Kate. Thank you so much for staying till this time. I think with that, we've come to the end.